So as a parent, there's nothing more important than your kids.
I never had somebody really hug me and tell me, like, you matter.
Just trying to get her to be a normal 4-year-old child, having to reassure the child what was going on, that nobody was going to hurt her.
Tyler and I were shooting hoops around the house, and when he'd shoot, he'd put his elbow out, and when I would make him pull it in, his arm would start to shake. That was the first clue that something was different and something was wrong, and it was very scary.
My mom, she used to work all day, and she used to give us the responsibility of waking up, getting on the bus, and going to school by ourselves. I used to lie to her, yeah, I went to school today. No, I didn't.
My husband had not done anything wrong. The mother had made accusations. There were things being said, just horrific things that a child should not be saying. Are you going to hurt me? Are you going to touch me here? Are you going to put your finger there? And from there, we started coming to the Child Advocacy Center 2 days a week for therapy from what the child had been repeatedly saying to us on the visitation days.
So Tyler started with his right arm. That's what he shot with. It progressed to his other arm. Then it went to his ankles and his feet, and it made it hard to walk. He also, at the time, it affected his jaw, so it made it hard to talk. But we got misdiagnosis and different diagnosis, and we finally came back to University of Florida. Dr. Oken saw him and knew immediately, literally within minutes of seeing him, what it was, and asked us to get a genetic test that proved positive for something called dystonia.
Coming to a new school full of girls, that was very intimidating. I didn't talk to anybody else. Any staff, nobody. I talked to nobody. Until like they forced me to talk to them. Like, okay, so what's your name? Oh, what school you came from? Like, oh, why you here? Like, okay, you could tell us, like, we're all going through the same thing, so, you know, don't be afraid.
When the child was placed with us, she was very demanding. There were no rules for her. She was not used to following any kind of rules because of the emotional abuse that the mother had inflicted on her. I remember one night having her in the tub, and she had indicated that her mommy had said that I was going to hurt her. And I just could not believe that a 4-year-old was telling me that.
We had no idea what dystonia was, had never heard of it. After Tyler was diagnosed, we would stay up at night, do web research, and what we found was that other people didn't know about it either. There was very little awareness, very little funding. So we came up with Tyler's Hope for Dystonia Cure. We said, if you had all the money in the world, how do we solve this problem? So we came up with something called the Summit. It's like the Manhattan Project. You have to bring the top scientists in the world together, lock them in a room until they come out with a cure.
With me working on myself, being able to not blame everybody else, like understanding that I put myself in this position to where I had to come to Pace. And I started realizing, like, it had nothing to do with my mom because I could have went to school. And this whole time I'm blaming her, saying you were never there. But when I came to Pace and I started realizing, like, I can't blame my mom. Like, I make my own future, basically.
The child was doing so well and so wonderful, and she had done VPK in kindergarten, and then we were finally into 1st grade, and it was just doing so marvelous. She used to always say that Daddy hurts me and Daddy does bad things to me, and she said that was a lie. She said, my daddy never hurt me. She said it was just a lie. My daddy loves me and he would never hurt me. And I remember going home and telling my husband that night. And I watched him cry in the backyard. Without the CAC, we would have just never gotten the child that we have now.
In 2008, we started the Tyler's Hope Comprehensive Care Center for Dystonia. at UF here at the Movement Disorder Center. Everything from physical therapist to an occupational therapist to a psychologist to a neurosurgeon, a neurologist, all those are housed in one place so that a person can come in and be seen by all those people at one time versus having to wait a month for another appointment, 2 months out for your psychologist or your occupational therapist. They can be seen all in one place.
I used to think about my past a lot, about what I didn't have and what I needed, which I didn't really need, but when I came to Pace, they were like, just forget your past because you have a brighter future ahead of you. Like, there's so much stuff that you done changed about yourself that you made better. It was the best thing that ever happened, literally. I don't know where I would have been without Pace.
Dystonia is curable. It's non-degenerative, which means that when we find the cure, it's like a switch. There's nothing that needs to be rebuilt. They go back to normal life. We have the known gene, the known protein that causes these symptoms and these problems, and so it's a matter of time and money before we find a cure for my children.
Pace is important for this community because it gives girls that don't feel like they belong. It's a place that you can come, be yourself, get help, and have a family. Have that. If there's something missing, you're gonna find it at Pace.
Anytime I needed something, I could send an email, I could phone, I could leave a message. I just cannot believe all the services that they offered at any time, day or night. That's just what they do. And it's free. It's free, and they're here, and they make a difference.
I've been lucky enough to tour Pace Center for Girls too, and seen firsthand the effects that it's had on some of those girls. And I want to do more. There's only so many hours in the day, but something like Taste of Gainesville brings those things together, really highlights those needed things and how great these of an impact that our community can have on our children.
So please help us do more together.
Please help us do more together.
Please help us do more together.
That was horrible. You like screamed.
Please help us do more together.